skate. I will be announcing all the games except for that open gender game, since I'll be playing in that one. And we are just about underway with only 2 minutes left to go before we start the whistle. So run down the rosters here for Wasatch. Midnight Terror is 1028 Roller Bear, 1039 Lavender Menace, 172 Pikachu, number 22 Off the Rails, 2324 Furious George, number 25 Knuckles, 254 Ultraviolet, at Captain 314 Bip, 394 Skates and Ladders, 444 Heartbreaker, 7734 Eve Hell, 777 Colonel Skirts, number 8 Taco Del Mar, 810 Orange Crusher, number 84 Kills, number 89 Apollo, 93 Devil's Ivy, and 999 Glow Job. Their coaches are Effin and La Tigre. And the Palouse River Rollers are 0210 Sir Vixen, 07 Solar Roller, number 22 Sharkbait, 247 Lecturally Active, at Captain number 27 Don't Care Bear, number 29 Pterodactyl, number 33 Jawbreaker, 333 Phytochondria, 626 Night Fury, 757 She'll Be Sassy, number 90 Whiskey Smash, and number 99 Betty Rumble. Just seconds to go before we start. Our officials for this game are going to be Bionic, Colin M. Fairley, Sushi, Baconator, Scary Reed, Data, Doom, and Whamdolph, Lobocop, Whamdolph, Eris, D-Rex, Romp, You Know Me, Parks and Rec, Kiss Off, Hyperlinks, Joysticks, and Dino. All right, officials talking things over, getting it all ready to go here. Both teams got their respective first lines out. Jam timers just about ready to go with that rolling whistle, and it'll be Apollo for Wasatch going up against 333 Phytochondria for the River Rollers. Our first jam of the Malice in the Moment Mountains Tournament. Quick move outside brings Apollo to lead. Apollo now coming around for their scoring pass. Phytochondria still fighting at turn number 1 against the Wasatch tripod. Apollo goes down, quickly back up to their feet. Phytochondria is through the pack. Apollo trying to score some points here. And calls that off where Phytochondria can come around. And we have 3 points in our first jam for Apollo, 3-0. Devil's Ivy for the Midnight Terror in the dark blue and black, going up against Solar Roller in the white. And we are off on our second jam as Ivy goes in. A hard hit stop by Bip to bring down Solar Roller as Devil's Ivy now is coming around. Turn number one, fighting for now. Trying to get some points. So the River Rollers set up right at that turn, waiting for Ivy. Halting there. Just that Solar Roller is now through. Ivy calls that one off. See in time. No, not before. 1 point is scored by the River Rollers, so that puts them on the board. But all 4 points were scored by Ivy. So we have ourselves a 7-1 game. Now we have number 90, Whiskey Smash in white, going up against Knuckles in blue and black for Wasatch Midnight Terror. Knuckles takes to the inside and is through quickly. Falls down, is back up, and is clear for a lead. So far, Wasatch doing a really good job of closing out the River Rollers from gaining a lead position. But they are through, is Whiskey Smash, and now coming around, and Knuckles is going to be forced to call that one off, with 3 more points scored for Wasatch. Night Fury 626 in the white jersey for the River Rollers. And seems that there was a penalty against Knuckles on that last one, so this will be a power start, first power start of the game here. Great chance for River Rollers to capitalize on this and close up that score a little bit. River Rollers trying to hold back some Wasatch defenders, but no, a nice drawback by Bip. Just as Night Fury is close as getting through there, but Night Fury is through now for a lead. So a couple more seconds left on this power jam. Night Fury going on their scoring run. Hit out by Eve Hell. Penalty box is cleared now, but they've got 3 points up for the River Rollers. She'll Be Sassy, 757, up against Roller Bear of Wasatch Terror. Going right up the middle, 757, She'll Be Sassy, trying to get through there. Is stopped, but is trying to find a way around and just makes it for a lead. Roller Bear being held back, looking for some not quite seeing it right now. Just as She'll Be Sassy is coming in for their scoring run, weaving in and charging into the Wasatch tripod. And we do have a star pass that goes to Colonel Skirts, is now the jammer for the Midnight Terror. But She'll Be Sassy is through for 4 and calls it off, and we have ourselves a 10-8 game as River Rollers kind of stalled maybe in the first 3 jams, are really coming back in these last few jams right here. Phytochondria back out in white, going up against Furious George to the Midnight Terror. So both teams have a lot of players that they can call on for jammers, so that should be pretty interesting here. Always going to have a lot of fresh jammers potentially throughout the game. Furious George trying to fight their way past Pterodactyl, is not getting through. Opts to go to the outside and finds enough space to get through for lead. Phytochondria, though, is right on her heels. Coming in fast is Furious George. Hits, calls it off. 1 point for Wasatch. Furious George crashed into that line to get that 1 point. Now it's Solar Roller in white going up against Apollo. right, off to the outside is Apollo, but is stopped. Solar Roller is sent to the penalty box on a back block. So now there will be a power jam advantage but a nice hit by number 22, Sharkbait, to stop Apollo just as they were about to break free. Hard hits. So Don't Care Bear also putting some pressure on Apollo, trying to stop them. And we have a forearm call against Apollo, just as Solar Roller comes right out and with a whole lot of speed, crashing into the line, trying to split up that Wasatch tripod. A great job being done by Ultraviolet Colonel Skirts and off the rails. Up to their feet is Solar Roller and through, but Apollo right back out on the track, speeding through, not wasting any time. And seems they were able to get lead before it's being sent to the box, so they scored some points and called that one off there. Or no, rather no points scored on that, as there's just an initial pass made. Now Devil's Ivy in the dark colors going up against Whiskey Smash, number 90 in white. Both teams lining up right at that jam line, so a whole lot of pushing going on right away at this beginning of this 8th jam here. But through is Whiskey Smash for lead. Going to the outside is Ivy, but no, stopped by Pterodactyl. Being drawn back, Whiskey Smash drawn out by Orange Crusher. And halting their scoring progress there, but they are weaving their way through and trying to break up that Wasatch line. And Bip just brings them out, and they did not see the track call. Bip brought them out, and they re-entered before, without going back behind the player, so that will send Whiskey Smash to the penalty box. So that will take this jam all the way the full 2 minutes. We have 1 minute left, and Devil's Ivy is through. So Ivy trying to push their way through, and does for 4 more points. 8 points so far on this jam for Devil's Ivy. Get some more points on the board here before this jam runs out. Still 30 seconds left. Jawbreaker taking back out Devil's Ivy with a big recycle now. And some nice moves by Whiskey Smash. A nice hitting and spinning there, and they are through for 4. Coming around on another scoring pass is Whiskey Smash. Trying to glide on through, but the Wasatch team trying to form up around them. Devil's Ivy herself having a hard time against the defense of the River Rollers. And that jam ends. Tough jam for both teams all around. Right now we have a 22-15 game as our first 10 minutes are done. (6-2-6) in white, Night Fury up against Knuckles for the Midnight Terror. Both jammers kind of going right up the middle of both tripods here, trying to break them apart. Lead still open, or as we approach turn number 1. Night Fury drawn back by Colonel Skirts, the pivot for Wasatch in this jam. Knuckles trying to split apart and gets through. That's 30 seconds before the first lead was called, so great job by both teams' defenses, but it is Knuckles through for lead. But now they've got to fight for those points. This is good, solid tripod set up by the River Rollers, halting their progress. However, Night Fury is being held and stopped up pretty well. But no, we do have a star pass. Now I believe that is number 22, Sharkbait, with a star in hand for the River Rollers. One more to beat, and they are through. So now through the pack is Sharkbait. Knuckles gets 4 points and decides to call that one off after very tougher and harder than 4 points on there. So both these teams' defense is doing a great job of kind of halting the momentum of the Jammers. They definitely get going around that track and can definitely put up some points, but they're able to plug those big gains being made every jam. And so that keeps the score here fairly close, only an 11-point game. $7-5-7 in white going up against 10-28 Roller Bear, but there is a power jam as She'll Be Sassy goes to the bench. So Roller Bear, the big opening on the outside, sees it and takes it and is through. And so the lead is assessed to Roller Bear. Good time for Wasatch to put some points on the board while the other players, or the other team's jammer has to sit for their 30 seconds. And through is Roller Bear for 4. A lot of quick moves to get by those defenders. And back on the track is She'll Be Sassy, coming in hard, but stopped by Orange Crusher. Now Roller Bear fighting for more points and gets them. Yeah, good offensive assist there by Lavender Menace. And another power jam is being called. Oh wait, no, the jammer is being brought back in. So no one is going to the box. So She'll Be Sassy through. Star was in their hand, so any players that they passed while the star was off their helmet will not count. But okay, it is Roller Bear calling that one off, but after 12 points being scored, the biggest jam of the game so far. So Wasatch doing a really good job of using that power jam to their advantage here to kind of break open that lead a little bit more. Furious George in the blue and black going up against Phytochondria in white. Furious George on the outside track. Mitochondria getting up the middle. And on the outside is George takes it, squeaks by some River Roller defenders there for a quick lead. Phytochondria off to the outside and is now through and past the pack. George on their scoring run, getting some good offensive help to get a few points, and is forced to call that one off. And 2 points for Fierce George on that. Yeah, definitely had some good offensive help there to get by those two players, as the River Rollers were definitely bunching up very well to stop that progress. Solar Roller in white up against Apollo in dark. Now both teams opt to start up at the pivot line, but start rolling back as we begin the jam. And crashing into the center of the pack are both jammers. It looks like it might be Solar Roller through first, just managing to stay in by their toe stops. But now Apollo is through on their scoring run. Solar Roller, a lot of speed going in, now crashing into the wall of Wasatch. And they are called that. Scored 2 points though, so great job for Solar Roller to get 2 points on that when the Wasatch defense was really set up and ready to accept them. Whiskey Smasher, number 90 in white, up against Devil's Ivy in black. So both these teams really lining up right at that jammer line. They really try to get these jammers contained right at the beginning. Nice solo blocking by Betty Rubble to stop Ivy just as they were trying to break through. And it is Whiskey Smasher that is through for lead. Advantage River Rollers. Looks like we have a directional penalty being called on Taco Del Mar of Wasatch. And looks like the pivot of River Rollers also going on, so perhaps maybe for the same penalty. I could not see. So this jam will start with a blocker each in the penalty box for these teams. 4 points are scored on that one by the River Rollers before that jam ended, though. So we now have ourselves a 42-21 game. Midnight Terror in the lead. Knuckles taking the star for this jam up against 626 in white, Night Fury. Nice job by Active to bring back Knuckles right at the start as they're trying to take that inside line. It is Night Fury, Bip with a hard hit to take Night Fury out and recycle. We did have a whistle on the play that sends Lavender Menace to the penalty box. So a very penalty-free game other than a few power jams, but now we're starting to see some players go into the box a little bit more as we are now past the halfway point of this first half of their game here. Knuckles staying on her feet, just absorbing some great hits by the River Rollers, but not going down. Night Fury, though, shouldering their way through for points and is getting them. Pterodactyl brings back Knuckles. Lavender also going back. And it looks like the Wasatch Tripod has done a great job of containing Night Fury. Halted their progress there. Night Fury doing a pretty good job there for a little bit, but now looking for some offensive help from Pterodactyl, but Wasatch quick to regroup. Meanwhile, though, Knuckles having a hard time of their own to try to get past these River Roller blockers and is looking for some offensive help of their own. And we have a multiplayer call that will send Taco Del Mar to the box, the penalty box again. Knuckles getting through, hard fought. There's tough River Roller defense there, but they are able to get through to finally get past that pack. Calling it is Night Fury with 6 points on the board. So yeah, nearly a full jam, and that was 6-0 advantage to the River Rollers there, but every team had to fight really hard for that. And we have a team timeout by the River Rollers. That'll give them 1 minute to regroup here. Which, yeah, probably a good time to take a timeout. So after that last jam, both teams working really hard. A whole lot of pushing. Both jammers, really kind of getting pushed to their limits there by the opposing blockers. It's a good time to take a break here. They do have 2 more timeouts to go in this game, and we are at 10 minutes and 48 seconds. So while we are here at a timeout, I'd like to make a few announcements. Beehive Skate Revolution's last game of the season will be Skates and Smiles, an event to benefit our amazing officials and volunteers. It is sponsored by Stubbs Dental. So join us Saturday, that is December 13th. It's a little bit a ways away, but Saturday, December 13th at 7 p.m. for a family-friendly night of fun. Also, our sponsors, the Pie Pizzeria, Valley Landmark since 1980, continues its reign atop the best pizza list because of the business philosophy that is consistency, quality, equitable pricing, and great service are the keys to success. So Pie Pizzeria has been a big sponsor of the Salt Lake Roller Derby for a long time here. All right, we have 5 seconds before our next jam. That is jam number 15 of the game of the first half here. She'll Be Sassy brought back by Skirts, but right back into the mix. Roller Bear having a tough time, gets a good solo blocking done there by, looks like number 27. That is Don't Care Bear of the River Rollers, but Bear does manage to find a way through. So Bear versus Bear duel going on there. It is Roller Bear that comes out to take that lead position. Taco Del Mar, some good one-on-one blocking. But finally it is She'll Be Sassy that is able to get through that pack. Meanwhile, on scoring run is Roller Bear, gets their 4 points and calls that off. So both teams having to work hard for every single point in these jams. Again, like 12 points is I think our only double-digit jam so far in this game. Everything's been in the single digits, so both teams' defense is doing a really good job of keeping this a low-scoring game. And Wasatch, Midnight Terror, is going to call an official review, so that'll halt things now. Keep in mind they do have one official review per half. Should the officials side with their challenge, they will be able to keep that review for this half. If they decide to vote against it, then they will lose that for the half. And things we have going on here all weekend long, we have our raffle table. A lot of good prizes there. It is $1 per ticket or $25 for an arm span. An arm span is the entire span of someone's arms. So find someone with the longest arms, and for $25 you get that many tickets that you can pick and choose whatever you want. Got a lot of good prizes there. Even if you're not local, there's a lot of good prizes there that you could take home with you. So we will announce some of the winners of those raffle prizes later today. However, be sure if you're not able to be here to collect, should you be a winner, be sure to include your contact information on your ticket. So if you're unable to be here when those are announced, we can still get that to you. You get your winning prize to you. Keep in mind, we also have a concession stand right at the front door. So all your snacks and drink needs can be met there. And we do have indoor restrooms. However, those are going to be for current active skaters and officials only. So we invite you to use the outdoor porta potties for that. As a and the officials have been conferring and have reached their decision here. I'll see what the results of that decision are affecting this next jam here as soon as we get rolling again. And for this Malice in the Mountains tournament 2025, we do have patches available. Unfortunately, they're only going to be available tomorrow. The design this year is really nice, so definitely get a patch if you can. I definitely will myself. Yeah, really good design here. Every year it's always a really interesting what they come up with for the Malice in the Mountains logo. All right, so it is a cut track call that Wasatch was challenging, and the officials sided with them. So they will retain their official review for this half, and this jam will start with the Roller River Jammer in the penalty box. And Apollo for the Midnight Terror will have a power jam or a power start advantage. Quick to the outside is Apollo, being brought out by DC number 27, Don't Care Bear. So really good job killing this penalty so far is the River Roller defense, but Apollo very quick and with some good offensive help does find a way to get on through for a lead. Apollo is done. We're going to call this jam was called off here. And Apollo skates off the track, so that jam will end, and we'll get our 30 seconds, so 2 points are scored by Apollo before calling off that jam. Meanwhile, that will still keep... Oh, and there will be an official timeout being called. So as things stand right now, the River Roller Jammer is still in that penalty box, so this would be another penalty or a power jam start. Advantage Wasatch as Furious George has the jam star on now. And we are back in the action. Again, power jam start. Advantage Wasatch. Furious George with the jam star. Getting some nice offensive help by Eve. Oh, a hard hit by, let's see, looks like Betty Rumble of the River Rollers. Just stopped George just as they were about to break free. And now that penalty box is clear. Bip will be going to the penalty box, the pivot for the Midnight Terror. And she'll be sassy, comes out of the penalty box and gets lead. So the River Rollers doing a really good job of containing George, but George is now through. Sassy through for 4, gliding on through the pack. And Sassy gets a call from her team to call that jam off. So off the bench and scoring 4 points is she'll be sassy. Devil's Ivy in black going up against Phytochondria in white. Phytochondria off to go to the inside first. Going from line to line is Devil's Ivy. But now is trying to push their way through a tripod as Phytochondria is through for lead. Penalty box is clear. Phytochondria, a lot of speed coming in, but no, is dropped out by and recycled by Bip. But very quickly regrouping as Phytochondria try to score some points here and calls that one off. Manages 1 point. I'll close that up to a 48-32 game as we are in our last about 6.5 minutes. Solar Roller in white going up against number 25, Knuckles in black. Both teams swarm right up to that jam line. Yeah, Knuckles getting some good offense, but his Don't Care Bear that is right there to stop, and that allows Solar Roller to get the lead. The bodies on the floor here at turn number 1. A Solar Roller trying to get some points. Calls that off. 2 points. So again, and as has kind of been the case in this game, just very low scoring per jam, and every point very hard fought. It's a lot of fun when you watch talented jammers going up against very tough defenses. Roller Bear up against Whiskey Smash. Whiskey Smash in white is through for lead. Roller Bear quick to the outside though, is now through the pack, and so now this will be a race. See what Whiskey Smash can do with lead. Approaching the pack at Town 2, calls it off. I believe they got the 1 point. Yes, 1 point. Nice burst of speed there put on. She'll be sassy once again, is back out, going up against Furious George. All right, George on the outside gets through for a lead. Nice toe work, work there to get by Betty Rubble. Now on their scoring pass, crashes into that Riverwall wall. Or River Roller wall. Now George getting some offensive help, gets through just as She'll Be Sassy's about to approach. All right, and that is 2 points for George on that. Yeah, these last few jams, very, very low scoring, but it has made for a very exciting derby to watch. So if you definitely like your more physical contact derby, this is definitely the game to watch. Lavender Menace of Wasatch starting this jam in the penalty box. Quick move to the outside by Phytochondria to get through for lead. Yeah, very quick lateral moves to go right from that inside and dart to the out. Hard hit by Colonel Skirts to bring back Phytochondria. Meanwhile, Devil's Ivy still fighting their way through that pack. Get a 2-wall being set up by Wasatch, leading them into a tripod. It's a nice defensive strategy and moves there, employed by the Wasatch defenders. Devil's Ivy, though, still struggling to get on through. But finally does manage. Hops on the inside of that track and gets on by. That is going to force a call off by Phytochondria, who puts up 2 points. Again, I think the last few jams have only been 2-point jams for each of these teams, 1 or 2 points at a time. We are coming down to what will be close to the last 2 minutes left once this jam gets underway. Again, a reminder to keep the indoor restrooms open for our skaters and officials. There we go, maybe 1 or 2 jams left in this half. Solar Roller is out there in white, being drawn back by Bip, and that allows Knuckles the space and time to get through for lead. Good tripod set up by the River Rollers to stop Knuckles. Meanwhile, Solar Rollers, some good one-on-one defense by Bip to halt their progress, but they are able to get through. Knuckles gets through for 4 and calls that one off. Bip will be heading to the penalty box, though, so Wasatch will start this next jam without a pivot. Whiskey Smash back out there in white. Going up against Roller Bear. All right, Wasatch is using their official review again. They had they retained their, or they won their last challenge, so they still have that available to them this half. About 1:18 left in the half once we get started, and then we'll have a 15 minutes intermission before we're right back for the second half of this game. And this is only going to be, this is only our first game of 5 today. So we'll have 3 more WUFTA sanction games, and at 2 o'clock there will be an open gender game. Okay, not sure. There was an official review, but now it is now changed to an official timeout, so we'll see what's going on here. Looks like okay, don't know what the challenge was as it is right now. Looks like the Midnight Terror have lost that review. All right, potentially last jam of this half. Wasatch will start with one blocker in the box. Whiskey Smasher trying to find a way through against a tough tripod though, but so is Roller Bear. And through is Whiskey Smasher for lead. Roller Bear, good hard hit by Pterodactyl to bring down Roller Bear, but Roller Bear back up on their feet and through. Just as Whiskey Smasher's now coming in for their scoring run. Great offense. Opens up a huge lane on the inside for Whiskey Smasher to skate right on through for 4. And there is time enough for one more jam in this half here. She'll be Sassy in white, Furious George in black. All right. And the penalty box is now clear. Got a full pack out there. Betty Rubble, the good hard hit against, is going to be looks like an illegal, I didn't see some kind of illegal hit up against Roller Bear that sent them to the box. Meanwhile, the She'll Be Sassy on their scoring run, trying to get through, being drawn back by Orange Crusher. So good, a lot of colliding going on right in front of here at turn number 1. And it looks like there was a penalty called on that, but that'll probably be only in effect at the beginning of our second half here. And that is the rolling whistle that officially makes this halftime. So we will be back in 15 minutes of this very hard-hitting physical game between the Wasatch Midnight Terror and Coyote Country Roller Derby's Palouse River Rollers. Just under 2 minutes to go before we get started on the second half of our first game here of this weekend. It is a 12-point game. The Midnight Terror up 54-42 against the Palouse River Rollers. So I'm going to finish up visiting the concession stand and also finish purchasing and placing your tickets for the raffle in there. So reminder of the raffle, some of those prizes will be announced later today. So be sure to put your contact information on your ticket in case you are not able to be here when those winners are announced. We will have some Malice in the Mountains tournament patches available tomorrow, so if you want to leave here with a pretty cool souvenir, those will be available here tomorrow. And if you've gotten a good look at the logo already, it's a really nice logo this year. So definitely pick one of those up if you can. So both teams are just breaking out of their huddles as we begin and bringing out their lines onto the track. There will be a couple of players starting in the penalty box. So they still have to serve their time for the penalties called at the end of the last half. Appears it is one player or one blocker each that will be in the penalty box at the start here, as Phytochondria 333 in white will be going up against number 25 Knuckles in black. So the River Rollers in white, Wasatch Midnight Terror in black. All right, rolling whistle gets us started. And we are off our first jab. Quick move by Phytochondria to the outside, but stopped by Bip and recycled back. Knuckles 2 to beat up front. Phytochondria quick moves, but Eve Hell able to get there and cut her off. Now Knuckles through for lead. Hard hit by Elv that draws back Phytochondria. Knuckles on a scoring pass, crashing into a tripod. So both jammers looking for some room there. Knuckles on the scoring pass, but it is Phytochondria able to get through. Knuckles calls that one off. Looks like we have some penalties at the end of that one. All 4 points. All right. And we do an official review called. As it stands right now, all 4 points were captured by Knuckles at the beginning, but it is the the River Rollers calling for an official review now. And so that may change the score. I also see that there are 2 blockers for the River Rollers on the bench, so we'll see if this review maybe changes that as well. And quick announcement here, Beehive Skate Revolution, another one of the leagues here in our Salt Lake Roller Derby community. Their last game of the season will be Skates and Smiles, an event to benefit our amazing officials and volunteers. That is sponsored by Stubbs Dental. So join us Saturday, December 13th if you can. That again is Saturday, December 13th at 7 p.m. for a family-friendly night of fun. And also I'd like to shout out a longtime sponsor to the Derby Depot and Salt Lake Roller Derby is the Pie Pizzeria. They are a Utah Valley landmark since 1980. They continue to reign atop the best pizza list because of the business philosophy that consistency, quality, equitable pricing, and great service are the keys to success. Keep in mind, this is only the first game of a total of 5 that we'll have here today, so in between games you can visit our raffle table. We have $1 per ticket, or for $25 an entire arm span of tickets. So find someone you know with the longest arms, and for $25 you can get that many tickets. Again, you can place, there's lots of items available for raffle, including take-home items for those of you traveling. And so we will be announcing some of those winners today and the rest of the winners for that raffle tomorrow. So be sure to put your contact information on the ticket. So should you be a winner, we will be able to get that prize to you. Yeah, our next game is scheduled from an hour from now to begin at 11 a.m. That is subject to change. That is going to be the Northern Arizona Wild West Outlaws going up against the FOCO Micro Bruisers. So again, that is scheduled for 11 a.m. All right, so a decision has been made. Looks like the River Rollers lose their challenge, so they will lose their official review for this half. So they will not have any more. They do have 2 regular team timeouts still available to them for the rest of this game. So things remain as they were, as it is Apollo. Some quick moves to get out for lead. This is their facing off against Solar Roller. Solar Roller is through. Apollo coming in for the scoring pass. Not letting up any speed, and through for 4. Good quick call off there, and looks like they have the River Roller defenders not able to get out of the penalty box in time either, so there will still be a 4-2 advantage for Wasatch here as we go into our next jam. That is Devil's Ivy in black up against Whiskey Smash in white. Both jammers up to the outside. Hard hit by Sharkbait, number 22 in white, and take out Ivy just as a lane was open to the outside, and that allows Whiskey Smash the time to get through for lead. But in no time is Devil's Ivy through that pack and threatening to score on her own, just as the scoring. Looks like Whiskey Smash called that off in time with 1 point. So, freezing Ivy from scoring any, but managed to put 1 on the board for the River Rollers. Roller Bear up against She'll Be Sassy. She'll Be Sassy, 7.57 in white. But it is Roller Bear in black out first for lead. She'll Be Sassy being drawn back by Colonel Skirts. Roller Bear quick around the track to start scoring. Body's hitting the ground there. This has been a very physical game so far. I mean, we still got practically a whole second half to go, and they've already played 30 physical minutes already. Sacrificing their body is active to keep Roller Bear from completely exiting the pack there. There is a star pass. Pterodactyl gets a star, and that'll cause Roller Bear to call that one off. However, they did manage to get all 4 points there, did Roller Bear. So we got a 4-0 jam. So starting the half at a 12-point lead is now a 23-point lead for the Midnight Terror by taking advantage of all those small point gains that they can get every jam. Both jammers starting right on the inside. Furious George and 626, that is Night Fury. Furious George quick on through. It looks like we have a directional call on Betty Rumble of the River Rollers. George very quick, doesn't scrub any speed, but crashes into a River Roller defender to pay for it. And that is a 0-0 jam, as the River Rollers were able to quickly regroup and shut down Roller Bear from scoring. Phytochondria in white going up against Knuckles in black. And there is one blocker down for the River Rollers, so it'll be a 4-3 blocker advantage for Wasatch Midnight Terror. Crashing into the blockers are both jammers. Knuckles to the outside and through. Good, quick cutting move there to get some space and find that opening. Phytochondria through the pack. Knuckles calling it. I believe they got perhaps 3 points. Yep. Devil's Ivy and Solar Roller. The Midnight Terror and the River Rollers. And it looks like now it'll be Colonel Skirts, the pivot for Wasatch, that will be starting this jam in the box. So now the advantage goes to the River Rollers. Both jammers looking for some space, but it's Solar Roller who finds it first and out for lead. And on their scoring run is Solar Roller, being brought back by Bip. Ivy now through, out of the pack. Solar Roller trying to get some offense going, trying to score some points. Looks like they got their hips past a few opposing players. Three players, so 3-0 jam for Solar Roller. All right, Whiskey Smash out there again in white up against Roller Bear. And now the penalty box is all clear. The River Rollers slide right back to try to block that momentum. A Roller Bear is able to quickly get on through. Whiskey Smash recycled, now trying to go back up against Colonel Skirts and off the rails of Wasatch. But a successful star pass, very nicely done, didn't even see it happen. Pterodactyl is now your jammer, but Roller Bear will call that one off with 3 more points for Wasatch. So again, the story of this game has been a great defense and low scoring jams, but it's made for a very fun game to watch. She'll be Sassy in white, Furious George in black. They are your jammers. So we go into jam number 9. A nice hit by Betty Rumble to take out George. But meanwhile, it is Wasatch defenders recycling She'll be Sassy going back long, very long bridge. And another good hit by Betty Rumble up against George. And so both these jammers having a very tough time of it. Neither one of them able to make much headway against these defensive walls. Yeah, so if I was definitely the upcoming teams here are Wild West Outlaws and our Foco Micro Bruisers. I'd be taking a look at how good the defenses of the two teams that are out on the track now are. So lead is still open as we approach the 1 minute mark of this jam. And with nice toe stop moves and absorbing a hit by Betty Rubble, instead of going down this time, they're able to manage to stay inside, and George is through for lead. Now calling for some points on through. I believe they perhaps got all 4. We'll see. No, only 3, but still 3 more points for Wasatch at a very difficult jam. Was that for those Yeah, those jammers, neither one of them had an easy time of it, for sure. Now Knuckles in black is out there against Night Fury in white. Penalty box is clear, so 4-on-4 for the blockers. Everyone slammed up right at that jam line. Looks like perhaps someone will have to yield here. That gives lead advantage to the River Rollers. I believe Knuckles perhaps maybe crossed a little early before the jam started. And Night Fury charging in there, calling that off. Let's see if in time. And yes, in time. That is 2 points for Night Fury. They're able to call that one off before Knuckles made a good apex jump there, but did not get the points for it. And now is Apollo, number 89 in black, going up against 333 Phytochondria in white. So we are down to the 19-minute mark in our second half. Phytochondria now working for it. Eve Hell, the nice hit on the inside, but some good offense by Care Bear. And there is a low block call on Betty Rubble that'll send them to the penalty box. That was up against Eve Hell. Palo passes off the star to Bip. Bip is now your jammer for Wasatch. Phytochondria going for an apex jump, but it is Orange Crush cutting that off. Sir Vixen there with some great offense to break up that tripod of the Wasatch. And now 4 points being scored by Phytochondria on that. So good offensive help there to put up a 4-0 jam for the River Rollers. Okay, we have Devil's Ivy in black going up against Solar Roller. Ivy sees the outside, takes it, gets past Pterodactyl, still fighting for it, stays up, no. And we do have lead. That Pterodactyl went out as they hit Ivy, so Ivy came right back into the track and got lead. But it is Solar Roller right back out, and now in a scoring position themselves, just as Ivy is through and calls it off. We'll see if it's in time. No, looks like 2 points scored by Solar Roller. And 2 points, so a 2-2 jam. So Solar Roller, even though coming from behind, did not slow down at all and was able to score 2 points on there, evening out that jam. And Pterodactyl, the pivot for the River Rollers, will start in the box, as well as the pivot for Wasatch, Colonel Skirts. So both pivots start this jam in the box, 3-on-3 blockers. And it is Whiskey Smash out for lead. Roller Bear now looking for some offensive help, seems to be getting some, just as Whiskey Smash is going around for their scoring pass. There's a tripod set up by Wasatch. And yes, Whiskey Smash awarded 2 points on that one. So 16 and a half minutes left in this game, and we are looking at a 21-point game. So if the momentum can be captured by the River Rollers to get those leads, become lead jammer, even with a small scoring jams such as we've seen, they can still close up that lead. But I'm sure Wasatch is not going to be giving it to them, so they'll be fighting to make sure they can expand that lead if possible. But this has been a very physical a very physical, low-scoring game so far. But yeah, it is lead. That is gathered by Solar Roller. So that should help out. Gliding into Taco Del Mar. Both go down, both back up. But through for 4 is Solar Roller. And we have a successful star pass. Colonel Skirts is now our jammer for Wasatch. As Pterodactyl goes to the penalty box, so Solar Flare calls that one off, so the River Rollers will be without a pivot in this next jam. You know, there's a blocker standing in the penalty box for Wasatch. So 8 points, Solar Roller with 8 points on that. And in this game, that is a high score. We've only seen one double-digit jam so far. She'll be sassy up against Knuckles. Knuckles takes to the inside, but is blocked by Active. She'll be sassy now, going up against a full tripod. Got an out-of-play front call, but no penalty called, so River Rollers were quick to fix that, but great one-on-one blocking by Active, but wasn't able to hold Knuckles back from getting lead. And so now Knuckles on a scoring pass for Wasatch. Nice through Lavender Menace with some great offense to help out Knuckles. Oh, nice quick move to get by Bip. She'll be sassy, but very quickly regrouping is Wasatch. However, Pterodactyl off the penalty box and onto the track is now your jammer. And Knuckles will call that one off. Scored a total of 6 points in this jam. So again, for this game, that is a high-scoring jam. Anything above 5 has been a high-scoring jam in this game so far. I've seen a lot of 1s, 2s, and 4s. Devil's Ivy up against Night Fury. Devil's Ivy sees the outside, but no, loses it. Has to be taken down, gets right back up though. Colonel Skirts with some good blocking to push out Night Fury to the inside of the track. And now it is Devil's Ivy trying to find a way. So lead is still open for both these jammers as we go around turn number 2. And now over 30 seconds in this jam, and that is a long time to fight for a lead. So both these jammers are really putting everything into it right now. Again, these defenses today have been great, and you know, this early in the morning. Good offensive being done by Sharkbait to finally get Night Fury out. But some good offense of their own allows Ivy to get out. So on a scoring run is Night Fury. They are past Knuckles. They don't believe they got past Taco before they called that off, so it may only be 3 points. We will confirm that. 3 points, yes, 3 points for Night Fury. Again, very hard fought, earned 3 points. And that closes that up into a 16-point game now. Whiskey Smash out there against Roller Bear. So a lot of physicality to start off this tournament. You know, first game of this weekend, early in the morning too, and both these teams just putting everything into it. And through is Whiskey Smash for lead. Roller Bear with a burst of speed is out of the pack and now racing behind Whiskey Smash. And yeah, nice sprinting by Roller Bear to cut down that lead advantage of Whiskey Smash and force them to call that one off with a 0-0 jam. Mitochondria back out against Knuckles. And the penalty box is clear. Got just under 11 minutes left to go now. Both jammers kind of start leaning into the inside track to find a way through. And it is nicely done by Mitochondria, who fought through two blockers to get that lead position. Now Knuckles through with some good toe stop work. Colonel Skirts draws back Mitochondria. Now Knuckles on their scoring pass. Get a call off. And 1 point. 1 point for the River Rollers. So that closes up to a 15-point game as we have 10 minutes left in our half here, the second half of our first game. All right, and a 1-minute team timeout called by Wasatch. As furious as this game's been going, it's very impressive that they've played nearly 21 minutes nonstop without a team timeout. So at the end of this, two timeouts will be available to the Midnight Terror. Looks like Midnight Terror also has their official review still. Meanwhile, the River Rollers also have two team timeouts left for them to use here, which as close as this game could end up being, having those timeouts in the last few minutes to stop that clock could be very important. So we'll see how these two teams decide to play that out. And so again, we have games going on all day today. So if you want to stick around here, you got concessions to buy for your snacks and drinks. We got raffle table to buy some prizes that will be announced later today and tomorrow. We are ready to go here. Solar Roller up against Roller Bear. Active getting in Roller Bear's way. Meanwhile, some good 2-on-2 blocking going on by Wasatch to slow up Solar Roller. Roller Bear is through for lead, but on their heels is Solar Roller. So now another sprint. And rather decide to take the risk of perhaps losing some points. Bear calls that one off for a 0-0 jam. Now, Midnight Terror's in a good lead, but not a comfortable lead, as 9 minutes is plenty of time to score 15 points. But again, we've only had one 12-point jam in the first half, and that's been the biggest scoring jam of this game so far. So the River Rollers are really going to have to work on getting lead more often in these last few minutes to really close that score up. Meanwhile, both defenses doing a great job containing the jammers. And through for lead is Whiskey Smash for the River Rollers. So now on their scoring pass, coming through, looking for some offense, gets it. Very nice offense done by Sharkbait for 4 points for the River Rollers. Ivy with a star pass to Colonel Skirts. Now on their second run is Whiskey Smash. Getting by some bodies there. Don't believe they've gotten all 4 points yet. They call that one off. And looks like a total of 7 points on that jam for Whiskey Smash. And so just like that, they cut that lead in half. So now we are just at an 8-point game. So let's see if the River Rollers can maintain that momentum and try to get that lead again. Really make this game a real nail biter here if we get into our final minutes. But no, it is Knuckles for Wasatch out first. So Wasatch really going to want to put some numbers on the board here to feel a little bit more safer as we go into our closing minutes. And a lot of contact now here across the track. Very tough wall of the River Rollers. But both jammers being held up there. There is now a star pass. It's Pterodactyl of the River Rollers now with the jam star. So Knuckles still is our lead jammer. Knuckles managing to stay in after taking a hit from Care Bear. And good 2-on-1 blocking. Jawbreaker there helping out Don't Care Bear to hold up Knuckles. But Knuckles finally is able to get through for 4 points, earning every single one of those points. Solar Roller back out there, up against Roller Bear. Steve has been facing off quite a bit in the second half here. Both jammers up the middle. Good offense by Colonel Skirts, and Roller Bear sees it and takes that outside lane and gets the lead. So crashing into the line once again, seeing some good offense by Skirts. Roller Bear is out and through for 4. So working very well together in this jammer. Colonel Skirts is pivot and Roller Bear is jammer for Wasatch. Roller Bear on through again. 8 points. And we do have a star pass. And that goes to, try to see the number here, number 22. That is Sharkbait, now the jammer. But after scoring 4 more points, 12 points, again, that ties the biggest jam of the game here, and that'll really help out Midnight Terror as we are now under 5 minutes with a score of 99-75. And a team timeout called by River Rollers. Good strategy there to stop that clock and give them a little bit of a break. This game still is definitely within reach of them. But I'm sure they're going to have to want to talk things out and kind of come to a plan about how to do that. So I'm sure Wasatch is going to be digging in here to really make sure that that lead stays where it's at right now. So again, our next game that is scheduled for 11 o'clock, so in a half hour, again, that could be pushed back. It's scheduled to start at 11 a.m. is the Northern Arizona Wild West Outlaws against the FOCO Micro Bruisers. So that is our next game here of this Malice in the Mountains tournament weekend. Phytochondria up against Knuckles. Both teams have to go right up to that jam line, and they've been giving these jammers some difficulty all game long. So to start the jam right there just can be very daunting, but Phytochondria is able to just push on through it and get the lead position. And so where that Wasatch's lead can definitely be threatened here is Phytochondria out for 4. Knuckles through the pack. Phytochondria approaching now. They're going to put some points on the board. Following some offense by Sharkbait. Shuts that off. I don't know if in time. 3 more points by Phytochondria. And 1 point for Knuckles. So Knuckles not giving up anything, racing forward another point. So now we have a 182 point game. 18 points separate these teams as we go into 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. Roller Bear, now Pterodactyl, instead of starting off as a pivot, is now starting off as jammer for the River Rollers. There's a lot of shoving going on here. Pterodactyl muscling their way through, getting past Bip for a lead. So getting that lead position is going to be critical here in these last minutes, or last seconds now as we come down to it. Pterodactyl looking for some offensive help from Sharkbait. Colonel Skirt's there, right there in their way though. And they lead them right into Orange Crusher, just as Roller Bear is through and out and coming around to score. And that'll force a call off. So yeah, Colonel Skirts and Orange Crusher, they're working really well together to halt Pterodactyl as they were scoring. But they did manage to get all 4 points. Two and a half minutes left. And another team timeout. That'll give Wasatch time to regroup here in this 2 minutes, 18 seconds left. So to use a minute to rest before that clock starts up again. And the Midnight Terror is in a not too comfortable 14-point lead. That can very quickly go away in these next maybe 1 or 2 jams that we got left, perhaps even 3 jams. There are still timeouts available for the River Rollers if they want to stop that clock. So again, be sure to visit that raffle table in between our games here. There's $1 per ticket, or for $25 you can get an entire arm span. So find someone with very long arms and have them stretch out a roll of tickets, and you get that many tickets for $25. So a lot of prizes available, even take-home prizes for those who have traveled here. Whiskey Smasher up against Knuckles. Teams again lined up right at that jam line. Don't want to give any room for momentum, but nicely done by both jammers to get through. It is Whiskey Smasher as lead. But yeah, both teams were set up to catch those jammers, and both jammers did a great job of getting through those walls. So a very quick jam here as we are in our final 2 minutes. Roller Bear takes the star for Wasatch, going up against Solar Roller. "90 seconds left on the clock. Both jammers crashing. Nice move on the outside, fouling some offense by Pterodactyl. Solar Roller is through for a lead. Again, all it takes is just two 7 or 8 point jams for the River Rollers to take that lead away and win this game in the last minute here. Solar Roller is through 4-4, and now with a handoff, Bip is now the jammer for Wasatch. Solar Roller fights through, gets by one more, calls it off, and like that, it is 8 points, and 6 points separate the River Rollers from the Midnight Terror. So it is in fact come down to the last jam of this game. If you like hard-hitting defensive games, this has been definitely a game to watch. And so it is Knuckles out against Whiskey Smash with potentially the last jam of this game. Now let's see if the River Rollers can get that lead and secure a win. The advantage will be to the Wasatch if they can get that lead and just have to run out the play clock, which is only down to 8 seconds left. Both teams really stepping up their defense. That's been so impressive all day long. Whiskey Smash is through for lead. Big chance here for the River Rollers to get on through. Minute 30 left in the game. That is plenty of time. It is Colonel Skirts now with the star for Wasatch. Whiskey Smash trying to get their way on through. Taco Del Mar right there to push them out. Collides against Skirts. Through is Whiskey Smash. And so now we have ourselves a 2-point game, 1 minute left. Entirely possible for the River Rollers to take this one. They've been behind all game, and we could be seeing a lead change right here in the final seconds. Now both teams fighting for those jammers, trying to push everything they got, and those defenders not wanting to give an inch to these jammers. Whiskey Smasher going into the pack again, trying to secure this win. Nice move on the inside as Whiskey Smasher brought out at the very end, but did pass by some opposing players there, so that may be enough points once this game is called. They only need 2 points for the tie. And Shark Bait with a star pass. Whiskey Smasher giving them everything that they got, hands it off to Shark Bait to finish off this game. Now 1-on-1, Bip against Shark Bait. And that is game. We will see what that final score is. Unofficial score of 104 to 102. Midnight, or 104 to 101. Right now, Midnight Terror is the winner by 3 points, but we will confer with the officials and scorekeepers to see what that is. But wow, coming right down to the final seconds like that. Our first game of this weekend as well. This is early in the morning here too. And we have a 104 to 101 game with an impressive defensive display by both these teams. Something for our other 2 teams to take note here as they look forward to facing. Rolling whistle confirms that is